Welcome back to Casual Evil, where we delve into the chilling stories that expose the darkest corners of human nature and peel back the layers of ordinary people committing extraordinary crimes. Today we're diving into a scandal that shook the pillars of American academia, Operation Varsity Blues, a saga of privilege, power, and the illicit quest for prestige. In this scandal, wealthy parents crossed legal and ethical lines to secure their children's admission into the top American universities. As we dive into this intrigue, it's crucial to first understand the key players and the tactics they employed. At the heart of Operation Varsity Blues was Rick Singer, the mastermind behind an elaborate scheme involving dozens of parents, university coaches, and even standardized test administrators. Singer was a college counselor who built a successful business, Key Worldwide Foundation, and the Edge College and Career Network, also known as the Key. He tapped into the anxieties of wealthy parents desperate to secure the children's admission to the most elite universities. He offered them a guarantee, a word that held so much allure and promised a future filled with pride and relief. But this guarantee came at a hefty price and on the fringe of legality. Singer had two main strategies. The first was what he referred to as the side door, which involved facilitating cheating on standardized tests like the SATs and ACTs. For some parents, this meant having a proxy sit the test for their child, ensuring a score that would impress admission officers. For others, it involved having a proctor correct their children's answers after the test. The endgame, a falsified score, a ticket to admission, and the erosion of merit. The second strategy was the athletic recruiting route. This plan involved painting a picture of the students as accomplished athletes, even when they had never played the sport they were supposedly being recruited for. In some cases, a student's face was photoshopped onto someone else's body in a sports photo. Singer's network of corrupt coaches and university staff would then recommend the students for admission, securing them spots that would have otherwise gone to genuinely talented athletes. What is even more insulting in this case is that the Key was set up as a non-profit organization where parents' bribes were considered as donations, giving them the opportunity to ultimately get a tax deduction at the end of the year. 33 parents of college applicants were accused of paying more than $25 million between 2011 and 2018 to Rick Singer. This was a game where everyone seemingly won. Singer amassed millions, the parents got their guarantee, and the universities boosted their rankings with seemingly perfect students. Yet the real losers were the countless hard-working students denied opportunities they rightfully earned. The illusion of this perfect system began to crumble in 2018. An unrelated investigation led the FBI to a tip about the admission scheme, triggering an extensive probe that would eventually bring down Singer's operation. The investigation was codenamed Operation Varsity Blues after the popular 1999 movie highlighting the absurdity of this real-life drama. Singer became a cooperating witness, providing invaluable insights into the inner workings of the scandal and helped the FBI unravel the complex threads. The saga involving bribery, fraud, and money laundering led to the arrest of at least 53 people who were charged and which included well-known business executives as well as famous Hollywood actors. Two names stood out in this star-studded cast. Loughlin, known for a role in her beloved sitcom Full House. Along with her fashion designer husband, Massimo Giannulli, she was accused of paying $500,000 to secure both their daughters' admission to the University of Southern California. Felicity Huffman of Desperate Housewives, on the other hand, admitting to paying $15,000 to inflate her daughter's SAT scores. The news of these indictments sent shockwaves across the country, exposing a deep-rooted system of corruption and privilege in college admissions. So the question that you might ask yourself at this point, what led these otherwise law-abiding individuals down this path of deceit? What drove parents entrusted with their children's moral compass to actively participate in such a scandal? Let's take a deeper look at the psychological triggers that may have influenced their actions. Parental fear can sometimes morph into overzealous guardianship over their children's futures, leading to decisions that blur ethical boundaries. They aim to shield their children from potential failure, possibly stemming from a genuine concern for their children's welfare, but manifested in an ethically questionable manner. Admission to an elite university is often perceived as a status symbol. The societal prestige associated with these institutions might have driven parents to resort to unethical means to uphold their social standing. Often, individuals involved in unethical behavior engage in mental gymnastics to justify their actions, effectively disengaging their moral compass to reconcile their behaviors with their personal ethical codes. Parents may not have fully considered the deserving students who lost out on opportunities due to their actions. They saw university admissions as a zero-sum game, justifying their actions on the notion that someone has to lose. Affluence can sometimes foster a sense of entitlement. These parents may have felt that their wealth entitled them to secure an elite education for their children, regardless of the means. While these triggers do not excuse the actions, they provide a lens into the psychological underpinnings of the scandal and act as a vector leading ordinary people to commit crimes. As Operation Varsity Blues moved from the newsrooms to the courtroom, the stakes got higher and the spotlight harsher. At the center of it all was Rick Singer, who was now on the other side of the law. On April 3, 2019, Singer pleaded guilty to 4 charges, including racketeering, conspiracy, and obstruction of justice, leaving a trail of wealthy families to face the music. 4 years later, in January 2023, he was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison in order to pay more than $19 million. One of the first to face sentencing was Felicity Huffman. She pleaded guilty to fraud conspiracy and in September 2019 received a 14-day prison sentence, a $30,000 fine, supervised release for 1 year, and 250 hours of community service. Huffman's relatively swift acceptance of guilt and subsequent sentence stood in contrast to other defendants, including Loughlin and Massimo Giannulli, who initially pled not guilty. However, as the gravity of the charges and the weight of the evidence became apparent, Loughlin and Giannulli eventually reversed course. In May 2020, they pled guilty to conspiracy charges. A few months later, Loughlin was sentenced to 2 months in prison, a $150,000 fine, 2 years of supervised release, and 100 hours of community service. Giannulli received a stiffer sentence, 5 months in prison, a $250,000 fine, 2 years of supervised release, and 250 hours of community service. The sentences served as a sobering reminder that not even wealth and status could shield the guilty from justice. Operation Varsity Blues, while a scandal in its own right, was also a symptom of a larger issue plaguing higher education: inequality. The scandal prompted widespread outrage and shock, but it also ignited essential conversations about fairness, privilege, and the problematic aspects of college admissions. For many, the scandal underscored the profound inequities within the education system, where money and connections could buy a spot at an elite institution. It raised critical questions about the emphasis on standardized testing, a process that already disadvantages students from under-resourced schools. Furthermore, it exposed the murky world of athletic recruiting and donations, where a generous gift to a university could significantly boost a student's chances of acceptance. The scandal led to reforms within many institutions, including increased transparency in the admissions process and scrutiny of athletic recruitments. Universities were now under the microscope, forced to introspect and rethink their admission strategies. Ultimately, Operation Varsity Blues served as a wake-up call. It revealed the length to which some would go to game the system at the expense of deserving students. As we conclude this deep dive into Operation Varsity Blues, it is clear that this scandal was more than a headline-grabbing event. It was a stark reminder of how privilege and power can distort the values of fairness, merit, and equality that should guide higher education. From Rick Singer's illicit operation to the wealthy parents who played along, this scandal represents a poignant example of ordinary people crossing extraordinary boundaries. These individuals, driven by fear, status anxiety, and entitlement, jeopardized their reputations and their children's futures in pursuit of an ill-gotten success. Thank you for joining us today on Casual Evil. Until next time, stay safe and keep seeking the truth.